CTV News with Carlyle Fiset.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. We begin tonight with reaction to the World Junior Sexual Assault trial verdicts. Each of the 5 accused players was acquitted today.
My story matters.
My story matters.
Your pain matters.
Your pain matters.
About 100 people rallied outside the courthouse earlier tonight supporting the complainant in this case. The woman, known as EM throughout the proceedings, had her evidence dismissed by the judge, deemed unreliable. Among the speakers at tonight's rally, EM's lawyer.
We are proud of EM because she has shed light on issues that need our attention. She has fostered a nationwide conversation about sexual violence, entitlement culture, bystander responsibility, and valid consent, coercion, and responses to threatening, unpredictable situations.
Crown attorneys took no questions today and gave no indication whether an appeal would be considered. For the exonerated players, it was an emotional day at the London courthouse. With more on the reasoning behind the judge's decision, here's Nick Paparella.
While handing down her 3.5-hour decision, Justice Maria Carrasilla wasted little time on telling the court which direction she was leaning towards. Within minutes, she said the complainant, who can only be identified by the initials EM, wasn't being entirely truthful when testifying, saying, "I did not find the evidence of EM to be reliable or credible. And therefore," she said, "the Crown cannot meet its onus on any of the counts before me." The main issue in this lengthy trial was whether or not there was consent between the 5 former Canadian World Junior hockey players who were in London attending a gala and the lone female complainant. They were all in room 209 at the Delta Armories Hotel in June of 2018 after partying all night. The judge said EM was acting in a sexually forward manner. She communicated her willingness to engage in sexual activity. And when it came to the Crown's claim that the female was too drunk to consent, Justice Carrasilla said when she reviewed the videos from the bar where they had been drinking and the hotel, EM does not show any signs of impairment, walking and dancing without difficulty. She went on, "In my view, the complainant exaggerated her intoxication." In the end, the judge found Alex Formanton, Dylan Dubé, Carter Hart, Cal Foote, and Michael McLeod all not guilty of sexual assault, with McLeod having the additional charge of being a party to the offense being dismissed. After the decision was handed down by Justice Carrasilla, there was a collective sigh of relief in the body of the courtroom, with the players hugging their lawyers and family members. Later, the media was told the players would not be making any public statements, but their lawyers did.
Nobody in room 209 that night has emerged unscarred from this event. The criminal court process is a bruising experience for everyone, but never more than when a case as high profile incorporates such high stakes. In Alex's case, he was condemned and felt banished from society. This experience for him has been crushing.
At the start of this trial, Cal Foote walked into this courthouse, an innocent man, and he walks out today exactly that. Cal never lost faith that justice would be done, despite the clamor of external pressures and agendas outside the courthouse doors.
For years, public perception was shaped by a one-sided narrative from a civil lawsuit that went unchallenged, in large part because Hockey Canada settled the claim without first informing or consulting the players.
This was a lengthy and complex process lasting more than 7 years. London police would originally close the case before reopening it after the female complainant settled a civil lawsuit with Hockey Canada in 2022. Nick Paparella, CTV News.
Throughout the trial, there were crowds of protesters outside the courthouse heckling the players as they arrived and voicing support for the complainant. As Lauren Stallone reports, there was disappointment in the verdict today and concern for what it might mean for victims of sexual assault.
Now! What do we want? Justice!
Hundreds of protesters gathered outside a London, Ontario courthouse Thursday morning before the judge ruled each of the accused not guilty in the sexual assault trial of 5 former World Junior players.
Frustrated, but not surprised.
Supporters of the complainant, known as EM, say they want her to know she's not alone.
There are people that believe her and still believe her. And as well, in addition to that, there are survivors from coast to coast to coast who are watching this happen. There are people who have not disclosed their experience of sexual violence who are watching this happen.
Jesse Roger, executive director of ANOVA, a victim services center, says the verdict will not only impact EM, but prevent victims from coming forward in the future.
If we can counter that with letting people know that there are people who believe you, there are people who will support you, I think that's what we're hoping for.
Jennifer Dunn with the London Abused Women's Centre says while she is disappointed by the judge's decision, she is also concerned.
For all survivors that have either attempted to go through the criminal justice system or were thinking about it, I think this puts us quite a few steps back.
Dunn says we need to work as a community to end violence against women.
It's more than just the verdict. It's more than what you've seen happen play out in this courtroom. It's about community, it's about courage, it's about strength.
Lauren Stallone, CTV News.
Officials with local business improvement agencies say they're considering expanding their boundaries. Daryl Newcomb has more on the changing needs for London's commercial districts.
At present time goes basically from Adelaide Street here to Charlotte Street.
The Old East Village Business Improvement Area is looking to expand beyond its current boundary, and in doing so, automatically make more businesses members.
We have a minimal amount of businesses left in this district at the moment because we have such a high concentration of social service providers. Yet the businesses still want a strong voice. They want an advocacy group like a BIA.
Businesses within the boundary of a BIA pay an additional levy on their property tax bill. According to Kevin Morrison, the total levy received by the OEV BIA is currently just $42,000 a year. So he'd like to see the BIA extend from Adelaide all the way to Highbury between the two railway lines. That would add big businesses like 100 Kellogg, as well as many small and mid-sized members.
I've gone to the planning department with and have received confirmation that they really can't get going until 2026 because other BIAs are in that process.
Earlier this year, the Hyde Park BIA in Uptown London appeared at City Hall with its initial proposal for a boundary expansion. And the Hamilton Road BIA is potentially next in line, according to Councillor Hadley McAllister, who sits on that board.
They're looking at a few options, but we wanted to get that process going because a levy, you could bring that into effect for, say, next year, but an expansion, you are looking, a year, sometimes even 2.
Here in the Argyle BIA, they're not looking to expand their boundary at this time, but instead expanding by offering their services to non-member businesses for a fee.
What you find in municipalities across Ontario, as a municipality grows, so too must the organizations that are operating within the municipality.
I think there's really strength in numbers, and there's a lot of cost savings in terms of when businesses in an area can band together, whether that's for advertising, for security, property improvements, beautifying the area.
Expanding the boundary of a BIA requires a vote by businesses within the current and new area. Then it must be approved by City Council. Daryl Newcomb, CTV News.
The American ambassador to Canada says a framework for a trade deal between the U.S. and Canada may not happen by August 1st, but may come together in the next 2 to 4 weeks. Abigail Beeman has the latest on what is becoming an increasingly fluid deadline.
Dominic LeBlanc wrapped up Washington meetings, including with Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick, for now.
We're going to continue to work towards the August 1st deadline. We're going to be back here again next week. But all of these deadlines are with the understanding that we'll take the time necessary to get the best deal.
While this Republican senator is less optimistic about the timing.
I wish that I could say it feels good that this is all going to be taken care of before the 1st of August, but I'm not sensing that.
Still, Canada is stressing there's progress, the ambassador pointing to the Prime Minister's announcement targeting cheap foreign steel imports.
The measures that Canada has taken on steel, in particular, against anti-circumvention, are some of the strongest in the world, and that has been recognized and very much appreciated. So we're making some positive progress.
They say they're hurt and they were insulted, and it's kind of like, well, it's not a whole lot of people or countries that we've asked to become the 51st state that I can remember.
Meanwhile, we're hearing more from U.S. Ambassador to Canada, Pete Hoekstra. CTV News obtained the full video of his comments at a summit where he made headlines for this.
Well, there are reasons why the president and some of his team refer to Canada as being mean and nasty to deal with.
He also weighed in on that August 1st deadline.
Whether it's August 1, I don't see it extending a lot past that. I'd be surprised if we were still talking about it on September 1.
Ambassador Hoekstra also said he's optimistic about the future, but there needs to be more advocates for the Canada-U.S. relationship. From his position, 90 days into the job, he says there aren't any. As he put it, there are political parties saying elbows up and relative quiet from the business community. Abigail Beeman, CTV News, Ottawa.
The president of Fshaw College says the school is moving forward with layoffs, cutting nearly 400 positions, about 35% of its workforce. In an email to staff today obtained by CTV London, the president says Fshaw has shared details of the layoffs with faculty and support staff unions this week. Union officials say the vast majority of these losses will be through early retirements and unfilled vacancies. The most recent numbers suggest Fshaw is facing a nearly $40 million budget shortfall for the next school year. Officials have blamed in part the federal government's cap on international student permits. A century-old business in Listowel is closing down for good tomorrow. As Scott Miller reports, it's about to put more than 100 people out of work.
Deb Podorny and Anna Davidson are heading into some of their final shifts at Spinright in Listowel. The co-workers have more than 75 years combined experience working at the legacy yarn maker.
It's devastating. I have known nothing but this since I was 17 years old. It's my life.
The production line at Spinright will run for the last time on Friday after the company announced the closure of their Listowel manufacturing plant in May. Spinright opened in 1952 in Listowel, growing to be one of the largest makers of yarn in North America.
Before that, it started in 1913 with Maitland Spinning Mills, so it's a legacy business. They're here in this area since, 112 years ago, so it's so sad to see.
Berkeley, who appeared in a promotional video for Spinright just a few years ago, was laid off in January. She'll now be joined by 140 other production line workers, many of whom are generational Spinright employees.
Spinright has fed a lot of families. Both my mom and my sister worked here as well. So it is sad to see. It's just time to move on, I guess.
We're all crying a lot. Yeah, it's very emotional. We spend more time with the people inside there than you actually do with the people you live with in your house.
Now, a handful of employees here at Spinright will be staying on for the next couple of weeks to tie up loose ends, says Anna. But essentially, major production ends as of Friday. Spinright's retail location will close too, but the Listowel Distribution Center will remain open, keeping a few people employed. But a far cry from Spinright's peak employment in Listowel of more than 300.
It was comforting. I knew my job and I knew it well. And I'm going to miss that, and I have to start over.
A lot of us that were laid off earlier this year are still looking for work. And it's a small town, so there's few opportunities, but not many.
I just thought Spinright would be here forever. And it's not going to be.
In Listowel, Scott Miller, CTV News.
Another milestone reached today for a home building project on the Oneida Nation of the Thames.
Creating a home for a family to feel safe, to feel proud. And us as partners and having that relationship with each and every one of you is great and acknowledgeable. So I'd like to acknowledge all that too and say thank you, Yawango, in our language, to say thank you.
Supporters and sponsors were given a tour today through the latest Imagine Build structure, number 5 so far for the grassroots charity. Officials say they've raised more than $1 million for the project, and contributions can be made at theimaginebuild.com.
So this is house number 5 with the Imagine build. This is going for a single father family, and he's 3 children in the community. And this is going to be able to kind of give them that home base and kind of really set them up. So ideally we can have them in by, September we're hoping for, and give those kids a fresh start for the new school year.
The 2027 International Plowing Match and Rural Expo will be held in southwestern Ontario. Officials announced today the community of Brigden will host the show in Lambton County. Lambton last hosted the IPM in 1991. Officials say they're putting together dozens of committees to organize the event with an anticipated economic impact of $25 million. They're also hoping the proximity to the U.S. border will help boost attendance.
We think we've got lots of great agriculture that takes place in Lambton. It's diversified. There's various types of agriculture, and we think we're a great place to be. And at the end of the day, we just hope to have 100,000 plus people, and I think that is will be a great match for us if we can accomplish that.
When we come back, the one with the answers. President Trump's own lawyer interviews Jeffrey Epstein's former partner. Losses in basic materials and consumer cyclicals helped drive Canada's main stock index lower. The TSX lost 44 points. In New York, the Dow dropped 316. The Nasdaq gained 38. The Canadian dollar down 1/10 cent today. On commodity markets, gold lost $24 an ounce and oil added 78 cents a barrel. President Donald Trump's personal attorney paid a visit to Jeffrey Epstein's former partner, Ghislaine Maxwell, today. She's serving prison time for her role in grooming and sexually abusing young girls. As Joy Malbon reports, she's the one person who could shed the most light on who else was involved.
Hi, good morning. Do you have anything to say today?
Donald Trump's personal lawyer wants answers, interviewing Jeffrey Epstein's accomplice Ghislaine Maxwell for 6 hours at a Florida courthouse. Convicted for sex trafficking young girls for Jeffrey Epstein, who committed suicide in prison. The Trump administration wants to know what she knows.
And Ms. Maxwell answered every single question. She never stopped. She never invoked a privilege. She never declined to answer. She answered all the questions truthfully.
This as the Wall Street Journal dropped a bombshell, reporting President Donald Trump's name appears multiple times, along with high-profile people, and that his attorney general told Trump in May. Last week, he denied it.
Did she tell you at all that your name appeared in the file?
She's given us just a very quick briefing, and in terms of the credibility of the different things that they've seen.
Trump campaigned on releasing the Epstein files, but his supporters are outraged when his administration said there was no client list, nothing to see here. Once good friends with Epstein, the president is frustrated that he can't seem to contain the uproar.
You'd have to have your head in the sand to say that this is going to go away. It's not.
Lawmakers from both parties demanding the files be made public and will subpoena Maxwell next month. Question is, what can she offer?
She knows that the only way she'll ever see the light of day and get out of that 20-year sentence is to get a pardon.
Her lawyer says it was actually Maxwell who asked for the meeting with Trump's lawyer. She's appealing her sentence and wants out of prison. Joy Malbon, CTV News, Washington.
Good evening. I'm meteorologist Gary Archibald for CTV News. We're talking about this wide, expansive cold front that's sweeping across parts of the central USA towards the Great Lakes. It works its way west to east, and with that movement, we've seen significant rainfall and thunderstorm activity across southern Ontario, and we could still see it through the overnight. I'll break down what you need to know about a rainy Friday and some showers for the rest of the weekend potentially, and where temperatures are headed. See if we stay hot and humid. It's all coming up here on CTV News.
Welcome back with meteorologist Gary Archibald tonight. And Gary, the conditions were ripe for thunderstorms tonight in our region after all that humidity today.
You're right about that. Very buoyant air mass and energized, right? Lots of potential. Carlyle will continue to see some nocturnal showers and thunderstorms within the vicinity, but the cold front sweep has been from Michigan due east towards the Golden Horseshoe. We are caught in between. And of course, with a day in which temperatures were 5 degrees above seasonal for a daytime high, you got the feeling that there could be some electricity in the air. Pun intended. This is your cold front. And, you know, we were in and out of some severe weather, thunderstorm watches and warnings. The potential for some hail and, of course, wind gusts in that 50K range was real. And, of course, we're still not completely out of the woods, so to speak, for tonight. Showers are possible, and still secondary waves in behind this initial cold front could bring some rainy conditions, especially tomorrow morning pre-dawn, and then perhaps even through the latter stage of the morning into the early afternoon. The good news, bad news, part of this whole scenario, the story is we need the rains. It's happened, and more to come through the overnight. Plus, we'll get a bit cooler. The cold front is the leading edge of a relatively speaking cooler air mass. So temperatures tomorrow won't be in the low to mid 30s, feeling like the mid 40s. But still, the overnight temperatures are several degrees above seasonal. 23 in Long Point will feel like about 32. And this collectively, a look at temperatures at their lowest point before dawn Friday morning. Still a thunderstorm risk, so keep that in mind for early morning commutes. Here's the breakdown for tomorrow. It starts rainy, it's cloudy. It does warm up to 28 degrees. That's seasonal for this time of the year, but it feels like a muggy 37. Again, the heat and humidity combining to make it feel that much warmer. A look at London, 7-day forecast, highs and lows expected. The rainy conditions for the next 5 days straight before we get into some sunshine Wednesday and Thursday, the middle of next week. And note, temperatures will be falling off by that point, down to 22 a week from now. Imagine that. That's late summer, early fall like. The Midwest, a similar looking forecast. Showers, thunderstorms threaten. Eastern shores of Lake Huron moving a little bit further inward and eastward, obviously. Saturday, Sunday, upper 20s expected. About a 40% chance both days of seeing some rainfall on mostly cloudy conditions across the board. Monday, showers, 30, and then the temperatures fall off significantly, down to 27. Some passing showers, mostly cloudy Tuesday, sunny on Wednesday, Thursday, 25 and 19 degrees Celsius for highs, respectively. That's a look at your weather. Do have yourself a good night, and we'll see you again tomorrow.
Thanks very much, Gary. A Southwestern Ontario company is introducing new technology for Ontario surgeons. For some patients coming out of knee surgery, they can be up and walking again in as little as 30 minutes. Spencer Turcotte reports.
Our system is extremely robust and quite unique.
It's a groundbreaking innovation created by University of Waterloo alumni.
At IntelliJoint Surgical, we help orthopedic surgeons doing hip and knee replacements.
Armin McCurtsian co-founded the company in 2010, inspired by his father's work as an orthopedic surgeon. He saw gaps in care.
Of course, they're human. It's very difficult to measure degrees, single degrees, or single millimeters by eye, or using their training and their judgments.
So he created IntelliJoint, a sort of computer-assisted navigation system that improves surgical outcomes in hip and knee replacements.
Anywhere in the middle is good.
It uses a miniature optical camera to deliver real-time, precise measurements.
So at this point, then they would save.
It also reduces the need for invasive and costly repeat surgeries.
Patients don't have the wrong length of leg, for example, after surgery, which unfortunately does happen 50% of the time if technology is not used.
IntelliJoint's technology has been used in more than 70,000 surgeries in multiple countries over the last 15 years. But getting approval for use in Canada has taken time.
It's a difficult journey to be accepted by the Ontario healthcare system.
But recently, a big breakthrough.
We're very fortunate that our local hospital, Waterloo Regional, has access to IntelliJoint's technologies.
While access is limited across other health networks, they hope it'll continue to grow in the right direction. And their argument is simple.
If you have access to a ruler or to a level, why wouldn't you use it to put up a shelf? I mean, that's the logic that we use.
Spencer Turcotte, CTV News, Kitchener.
Finally tonight, an Alberta hiking guide and his mission to find the bison herd in Banff National Park. But this was no one-day trek. As Kevin Fleming reports, it turned into quite a journey.
He has a massive map of Banff National Park on his living room wall, and Jeff Douglas has kept track of every trail he's hiked by marking them in yellow and blue.
So mid-August to mid-September, I let my schedule as a guide be a little bit light, and if there's a 3-day or a 4-day weather window, I have a very understanding wife and would see what I could accomplish during that time frame.
Douglas owns Mountain Goat Adventures and is a professional hiking guide. His wife supported his quest to hike all the trails and find the bison herd. She also made sure he was safe.
So usually at night and in the morning, Jeff will confirm via his InReach and the GPS device where he's at, if he's doing okay, if he needs anything, what his plan is for the day. So I always have an idea of the route he's taking as well, so I can track him along the way and make sure he's okay.
Parks Canada reintroduced 16 bison in the park in 2017. Since then, their numbers have grown to close to 135. They're monitored by staff who tries to make sure they stay within the park boundaries.
These bison certainly are wildlife, a lot like any other species in the park, and they're integrating into the landscape and improving the ecological integrity like we'd hoped.
This spring, on day 3 of his last 4-day hike, Douglas hit pay dirt and came across the bison.
I just sat down. I probably spent 45 minutes with, I didn't even pull out my phone or take my pack off. Just sat down on a rock and wanted to be present there. I've seen every animal in the park, and that was, I don't know why, that was just, it was really majestic. It was a bit emotional. The whole project came full circle, and I had an absolutely spectacular day without a cloud in the sky.
Both he and his wife are proud of his achievement in covering over 2,000 kilometers of trails in the park and hope it inspires others to explore it. Kevin Fleming, CTV News, Canmore.
That's it for us. Thanks for watching. For all of us at CTV News London, I'm Carlyle Fiset. Have a good night.